Hello, everyone, here on the RTV Radio Show. We're here on a different time at 5:30. But thank you all for tuning in. I have a special co-host that will be on with me, Dr. Kyle Berkeley. He's going to kind of be our guest co-host. I'll fill in when we need, or every time if you like. We love your energy, and we thank you, Kyle, for being a co-host and supporter of the Restoring the Village radio show. We are on here today again with another great topic that we would like to talk about, and also to recognize some things and to have a deeper talk when it comes to mental health. So I think this would be a good segment. What I need you all to do before we dive in and I speak about our special guest, I need you all to share this post, and I need you all to come in with some good vibe and energy and interact with us, ask us some questions, try to just interact and get information on how we can help with any of your needs. As I always say, it takes a village. All right, so we're here, and let me first say special shout out to my co-host, brother Nance. He's out there doing his thing, so we're holding it down for one another. I guess again is a different time, so I know he's out there grinding, but we appreciate you, brother Nance, for all you're doing. And then also, we want to just shout out Radio on Fire, awesome broadcast. If you ever want to sponsor a show or get anything out to publicize, that's who you should go to, Radio on Fire, and you can see, any of his different packages, should I say, to help with your advertisements. And then we're going to dive on in. I want to introduce our guests for today, our special guest, Jada Carrington. I'm actually looking at my phone. Let's bring it down. Jada Carrington, I have actually been connected with her for a good while. Never seen her in person. There's a lot of, people you don't see in person. We've seen virtually all the time. But I'm so proud of all that she's doing, and I wanted to recognize the work that she's doing and asked if she could come on as our special guest. So before I bring her in, I want to read a brief about her bio. So actually, let me just also say, she was just recognized and appointed as a young adult representative on the Governor's Commission on Suicide Prevention. As we all know, well, many may not know, we actually had Suicide Prevention Day, so a world nationally known Suicide Prevention Day. So she's going to talk about that. But I'm going to do the bio. Jada Carrington is a passionate 25-year-old mental health advocate, speaker, and poet who was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. Go, Jada. Jada developed a passion for mental health and instantly knew that it was part of her purpose to become an advocate. Since then, she has been speaking and sharing her poetry on many different platforms to bring awareness to mental health. She also has an Instagram account called Life with No End with daily positive quotes. I just want to bring in Miss Jada Carrington. Thank you for being our guest on today.
Hello, thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you on. And I just wanted to talk about, just our mental state and your advocate. We also have Dr. Kyle Berkeley, so he's a professional one. So we can go through life changes and life experience and the advocacy, and also to actually have the professional on here. I'm just going to kind of like dive into, you all know, there's various reasons why people go through have mental health crisis. But one of the things I really want to hit on, I always do, is the crime, that PTSD, when a person has lost their loved one, the grieving process. These are, attributes of, mental health crises. And so I wanted to talk about just that as well. But in general, just life. We're still in a pandemic. I know they're saying we're coming out, but it's still a lot going on that interferes with your mental state, as well as a lot of people been home to themselves, right? And that isolation causes a lot as well. So whatever you want to start, I just want to say, like, whatever we want to talk about, you can kind of start, like, where did you start from, and like just starting with your positive quotes or advice. We can dive right in from there.
Okay.
And
So,
anything I missed when I introduced you, you can add to it.
oh, you're fine. Thank you so much. Um, I started off as a senior in high school, and I started like struggling with my own mental health, and I did not know what depression was or anything like that. So, of course, I'm not reaching out for help or anything like that because I don't even know I really have a problem. But I started seeing changes in myself, and it's it's a weird connection because I was struggling, but at the same time I was struggling, I also like gained some type of passion and wanting to help other people. I remember I would post things on Instagram, like my regular Instagram account, and it would be almost like just relatable posts talking about just feeling down. But I came across like some hashtags, and I found that there were other young people who were feeling the same way I was. And even though I was feeling bad, I didn't want other people to feel that way. And so I started an Instagram account called Life with No End. And I didn't know what that was going to be or what I was even going to post, but I just knew I had to do something. And so I started posting quotes, things like, you can get through this, you matter, stuff like that. And within a week, I was getting messages like, thank you, I really needed this. And I kept posting it, and about probably a month later, I got a message saying I was feeling suicidal, and your page turned me the other way, and that's when I knew that whatever this was something that had to continue, and that was a good 6 years ago, and that page has grown. That page now has almost 18,000 followers. Um, and it just really inspired me to become a mental health advocate and learn more and educate myself. And so that's what I did. I went to so many trainings and workshops, anything. I do this on my own. It's not a part of like my schoolwork or anything. I just do this on my own because mental health is just so important, and so many young people struggle. And I just feel like I could be that voice.
I love it. I love it. And I
It's
don't, I can't,
amazing.
I was going to say, go ahead, Kyle, because she going
No,
to have
I was
me.
just saying that's just amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
said she has an awesome story. I couldn't even really I'm like, Kyle, you just have to listen to her story. And so yes, I just love the fact that most times, even those who get into this, rather whatever advocacy lane you go into, most of it's from our own hurt, our own pain, and you turn that pain into purpose. And in the same token, it doesn't mean that we're whole or we're over something. It means that we're going through this together, right? And so I lost my husband to violence, and I'm not going to lie, there's days where I have my moments, but the drive, the passion is really going with that purpose, and I'm healing right along with the people that I'm advocating for, that I'm, helping. And so that is an amazing story, and I love to hear that. I love to see that your platform is what it is. Your platform is growing. You're able to help, and I always tell people, you never know who you're helping just by
Mhm.
simply going forward. By simply living, by simply. It's not even about existing. You have to really live. You have to really understand that I have purpose, and you found that. and it's evident. So I really appreciate that. Just sharing your story. Sometimes it could be hard sharing it, going down that
Yeah.
lane. And even when you have moments, you know that you can call on other people. I mean, we've chatted, various times, and so always know, there's always a cycle, and you have people that can help as well. But you're helping a multitude of people out here in this world.
Thank
Kyle,
you.
you got something, Kyle, before I go with my.
No, go ahead. Like, because that's impressive. It's like truly impressive to say the least. And
Mhm.
mind you, like impacting so many people, especially with something as serious as suicide, and grief, and not grief, but depression.
Mhm.
I did jot something down when you were saying that about not knowing what depression is. Like I could think, growing up in the city, you see countless people that growing up, that murdered and everything like that growing up, and me myself not even knowing that I was dealing with depression. When I was a high schooler and turning 18, 19, 20, throughout my 20s for so long, not knowing what mental illness was because it's not something that we talked about, and not knowing that I was depressed and going through this stages of grief, and then having my childhood best friend get murdered, and not even knowing, oh, dude, these feelings, like, what is going on. And
Mhm.
it's like you go through learned behavior, right? What you see other people do and how they handle what you're going through, right? And even though it's not the right things to do per se, it's a learned behavior. So it's really good to see that you're doing that to really help and guide young people in how to really handle these feelings.
Mm. Now I know you share. Hey, brother Nance, I didn't know if you could make it. Sorry for the time change, bro. But I loved you. Um, so basically, could you talk about just your appointment to the governor? What is it? The Maryland Commission on Suicide Prevention through the governor's office, and let us know, like, what does that entail? How did you even get involved or connected, or did someone just see the work that you're doing?
Okay, so um I about, let's say, 3 years ago, I would look for mental health and suicide prevention events because I wanted to share my suicide poem. And there was the Maryland Suicide Prevention Conference, and I sent it to the director, and she loved it, and she wanted me to perform at the conference. And I did it, and everybody loved it. And then so the next year, she invited me to pretty much coordinate all the arts portion of the conference. And she sent me, like, the following year, she sent me an application, and she was like, I think you should apply for this position, talking about being on the commission. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay. And I applied, and I got the position. So of course I was excited about that. And basically, the commission does all types of research and um, reports on suicide prevention and mental health, and specifically Maryland. And we're all broken off into positions. So basically, anything that I have to report on young adults, that's where I make my reports. Um, so yes, I don't know too much to say about it,
Oh no,
but
that's no, it's actually good. That's good. I just like to know where. How did you get connected? We know your why, and now we know how you've got connected there. And the reason I was gonna bring that up is because um, I wanted to go into resources. I wanted to go
yeah,
into What are some things that we can do to help? In your case, you connected to an actual task where you can help someone. I know others may write a book and some may take a walk. Like, what are some things that you would suggest if someone's feeling down? Even to see a doctor. I mean, whatever you think. I would love to hear your suggestions of if someone is feeling suicidal. I know you can even talk about the hotline, but like, what are some things that kind of help us stay stress free and to help us have a free mind? What were some things that you would recommend or things that you've done when you were feeling down?
The first thing is literally just understanding that you're not by yourself
Hmm.
and that there are a host of places in that you could go for help. Um, Baltimore not only has, like, of course, the hotlines, but there are specific numbers and things you could call for your need. Um, because you may be depressed and suicidal, but maybe not for mental health reasons. Maybe you could be financially have issues, or maybe there's some physical stuff going on. There's all types of numbers to call. So always be on the lookout. Of course, um, personally for me, what helps, I write, I connect with like-minded individuals,
Hmm.
who also have an interest in the things that I'm doing.
You,
I
you have to
have
say that. You have to say that again. That's very important.
yeah, that's important to have people that's definitely like-minded and have the
Yes.
same vision and goals as you,
Yes.
because you don't want to find yourself in a bad circle, because that can also affect your mental health.
Absolutely.
Um, I have developed coping mechanisms and strategies. I walk daily. I write. I listen to music. I journal. I have some prompts. I also go to therapy. There's all types of things you can do. And there's all types of free resources too, like the pro bono counseling project.
Hmm.
That's a place you could go to get free counseling.
Yeah.
My therapist now is from the Boris, I think it's the Boris Henson Foundation, with Taraji P. Henson, her father foundation. They offer free counseling. I've took advantage of that. So there's so many, and I can leave resources too, links to resources as well.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm writing it down. That's why I turned over here. But that would be nice if you could share that. We'll share it out to our network as well. Dr. Kyle Berkeley, I know you had some information or
Well,
you
I
had
wanted to circle back real quick to the like-minded thing because that's very important.
yes.
And I came across something similar last night with my work with crisis. Being around somebody like-minded is more important, especially when you look for a support system.
Hmm.
As therapists and first responders, crisis, one of the first things we look at is what's somebody's support system, right? Are you close with your family? Do you have any close friends that you could depend on? One of the worst things that could happen is having somebody who you're around that you look to, you're real close with, and you're sharing how you feel, and they're minimizing your feelings and like, oh, this is normal. This is what everybody
Yeah.
goes through in situations like this. You're okay. You're okay. Like,
Hmm.
no, like you're reaching out because you're not okay.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, please don't minimize your own feelings because somebody else is not completely understanding of what's going on with you.
Good point.
Um, like Jada mentioned, reach out to one of those call centers for help.
Hmm. Absolutely. Um, I would like to kind of let's say piggyback off of what he said because he didn't ask it, but he said in the chat, like, what are some I guess I don't want to say the signs. I guess you could, but what would be the signs that a person is dealing with depression, um, or where it get to the point where you believe that they may need some extra attention and care? What would be some of those? I mean, not to say the profession, but you're professional here, but we could still look at that life experience. Like, what would you say would be your that trigger to say, yeah, it's time to like get that extra help? Other than suicide, of course, if you have suicidal thoughts, of course, but what are some other like conditioned, things that happened before that would show those signs? What would you say?
So I know personally I have major anxiety issues,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's all about learning your triggers.
Mm-hmm.
I know personally for me, when there's a thousand things happening at one time, I become overwhelmed, and that
Mm-hmm.
usually triggers my anxiety. Or
Yes.
if it's something, I'm a planner. I'm not really very spontaneous, and so when I feel like I can't be in
I'm the
control of
opposite.
something, that that triggers my anxiety.
Yeah.
Um, and also, I have a sensory issue. So loud noises, too much movement, anything like that can also trigger my anxiety. So it's all about trying to find your triggers.
Your triggers. Uh-huh.
Um, because once you do that, you can know how to kind of avoid them,
Mm-hmm.
and begin to work through them.
Absolutely. So you made a good point. Like basically owning your own triggers. Know what your own triggers is. It's like for me, I had to laugh when you were saying it because like inside because I'm just spontaneous. I did give you a day in advance though, Jada. I didn't tell you
Yes,
today.
you let me know.
But I'm spontaneous, but I kind of just for me it's more like what my schedule look like. And what I don't want to do is I want to keep a schedule. I want to keep consistency as far as the show. So for me, it's still knowing that Monday is my mental health day where I do the show, which is therapeutic to me for me. And then I also, in your case, as you said earlier, I don't know who needs to hear what we're doing. So I always try to fit it in some way, right? And so for me, it's the same. Like you just never know who you're going to touch, who you're going to inspire. I don't care if it's like 5 viewers and one got out of it. We did our job. You never know
Right.
if we help someone that was looking into suicide or depressed. Um, for me, I understand that during this time, or definitely more like winter season is when people really get down, those holidays. So again, owning your triggers. It may not be for everyone, but that's a time where people get depressed. Like I said, during this COVID, when people were at home, if home is abusive or home is like a reflection of depression, they struggled, right? And some may have thrived because they were better because they weren't around. So again, you just made a great point I wanted to bring up is that, owning your triggers. And for me, if you know those triggers, I'll just say for me personally, if I'm overwhelmed, if I know that sometimes I get overwhelmed when I hear all the crime, like this yesterday, or like when it's all on your feed, your news feed. I don't even watch the news, but of course it's all on social media and it's all on everything else. So it's like I either have to not look at social media, I either have to not look at the news, I have to take certain apps off my phone, like own it to know that it's affecting you, your mental. And so those things affect me because of the loss of my husband. So I know there's a form of PTSD going on, or just I won't ever say that. I think anyone is going to feel that way. When someone like you just said, if there's a lot of people, a lot of noise, or I'm always like watching, and so that is a form of what happened to me. And even it doesn't even have to be a death. It can be sexual assault. It could be anything that can trigger where now a person is feeling depressed and they're feeling suicidal, or they're feeling not attractive, or they're feeling like, did I do something? So now it's here. It's
Hmm.
it's your mental. And so you, again, I can't say it enough, owning your triggers, and
Yeah.
everyone is different.
And I'm gonna go through some triggers I've noticed,
Mhm.
especially now recently. I've noticed Awkward spike in suicide over the last 2 years between COVID and a lot of different things, politically and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been an awkward spike with suicides from what I've noticed. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to point out some trends: feeling trapped, self-harming, feeling overwhelmed, sudden changes in your life. Put a pin in that. I'll come back to sudden changes in your life shortly. Impulse and being impulsive, not being able to see positives in anything, not
Mm-hmm.
sleeping, sleeping too much, not eating or eating too much. And going back to sudden changes in your life, that could be relapses for my people in recovery out there. It could
Yes.
be changes in your health, such as
Mm-hmm.
cancer, HIV, diabetes, like not being able
Mm-hmm.
to process that. Coming out, or for my LGBTQ friends, like
Mm-hmm.
that coming out process. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of suicidal ideation and thoughts around that.
Mm-hmm.
Divorce, separation, death of a loved one, marital. So
Yeah.
I do private practice as well, and my private practice I try to focus on doing it with clergy, people who are religious leaders, and with that I deal with a lot of people who have marital problems, family problems, financial
Mm-hmm.
problems, issues around the upbringing and trauma that's been completely suppressed. And
Childhood.
yeah, and what you start to see is there's a lot of suicidal thoughts around there because a lot of that's been suppressed, and they've
Yes.
been trying to hold it at bay with the religion piece and not really
Mm-hmm.
take care of the mental health piece. And one thing I tell everybody is take mental health as serious as you would take cancer. You
Yeah.
know, like you wouldn't go, well, I have cancer, I'm gonna just go pray it away. Like yes, prayer helps, but you also
Mm-hmm.
have the medical people that are there that that's their
Mm-hmm.
job and that's their specialty. So you would use that to your benefit. And I say the same thing with mental illness. If you're dealing with depression, and again, depression is not the only thing related to suicidal ideation.
Mm-hmm.
If it was, believe you me, we would have had this thing solved years ago, right? But
Right.
but using the resources and tools when you know something's different and something's not normal for you, reaching out to those call centers, and you have so many different resources now. I'm going to
Yeah.
mention better help right now. They better pay us for that. But you have so many different resources right now that you could reach out to for help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just
You know, one thing that helped me. Um, I'm not sorry.
no, you
I'm
good.
sorry. I
No,
was
you
gonna
good.
say.
Go for
I was gonna say. You know, one thing that really helped me, and it's not to, belittle anything or anyone, and hope that no one gets offended. This is like a cancel culture time. But one thing that happened and helped me was what Jada said. Jada's basically saying, to connect with like-minded individuals.
it. Hmm.
It To be honest, and I only can say what helped me. That's it. Okay, this is an Angie Winder thing. But for me, it was the support groups. It was to hear other people going through it. It wasn't a doctor to tell me what I should think. It wasn't a doctor to give me medication. I actually absolutely avoided that, but that's me. And it was sitting in a room, not a big one, but small one, a small group, to know that I wasn't alone, like you said, Jada. It was to know that, hey, this person has been a widow for 10 years and how strong she is. I can do this. That support group. That's what helped me, as well as like the writing, the connecting and helping other people. Like I'm a nurturer, so I help people. That is my lifeline. And people always say, when are you going to get rest, or when are you going to stop? Like that's what's keeping me going. That's what got me going. And so, to be honest, that's part of my life. And it may seem overwhelming to someone else, but that's my lifeline. That's my hope. And like I said, that support group. So anytime I can speak about my situation or bring someone on, I know that sometimes it could have been someone who just said something that made me wake up, that made me say, Angie, you're gonna get through this, because Jada just said what happened to her. You understand, Jada? And so when
Mhm.
when Jada just said something, and now she got 18, oh, I forgot how many you said, so many followers. Oh, you keep going, Angie, till you get all these followers. I'm just saying, like that's the thing. It's not a competition. It's more of hope of knowing that Jada's doing this. Angie can do it. Look at Kyle and hear his story. Jada, you got to hear Kyle's story. But to hear people's stories and to know how they got to their role. And so this is basically what, like, restoring the village. This is why I asked, how did you do this? Where did you get started? Because if it's from your heart, you're going to keep going and you're going to go far. And so if anyone is on, I always say this in the middle of the segment, but if anyone's just coming on, we have on our show, first of all, our special guest co-host, Dr. Kyle Berkeley. He's on, but we have a special guest, Jada Carrington. We're talking about National Suicide Prevention Month is actually what September is. I also want to just acknowledge, because Kyle did say about recovery. So it's also National Recovery Month. I just pulled it up and didn't realize that. And so, as you said, it could be triggers from a lot of things, and it could definitely be from recovery. And let's just talk about, even with recovery, most times people that are abusing drugs, should I say, I don't know the correct way to say it, but that are taking any kind of substance, most times it is triggered from something that have harmed them, bothered them, hurt them, maybe something from their childhood. And maybe this is their way. Like, some just they want to be numb, or they don't want to exist. And so it's still part of that suicide thought sometimes, just being hopeless. And so we want to acknowledge both National Recovery Month as well as the National Suicide Prevention. I do know that our producer had the hotline listed on there. If you could put it back on when you get a chance. If anyone, thank you. Let me tell you something. We have the best producer.
Yes, we
But
do.
the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline hours are available 24 hours. And the number is listed 800-273-8255. If you just need some hope and go to just looking at something, as Jada said, she puts quotes on her page. What's the page again, Jada?
Life with no end.
Life with so life with no end, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to make sure we put that on there too. But even if you just want to have this daily reminder, you can do it. Like, who knows, it could be the smallest thing. Some people put little tags or sticky notes around just to encourage them. Journaling is very good. Exercise and walking, seeing a doctor. You have to just know what works for you and what your triggers are and what could help you with your healing mechanism.
And talk
um,
to your children.
and oh,
If you see some different behavior in your children,
mm-hmm,
talk to them about it, and don't minimize it. Whatever you do,
yeah,
please do not minimize that behavior. Get them
yeah,
the help they need right away. Like, one of the things that is the most hardest thing to do is seeing something that could be treated months ago or weeks ago,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and a parent, because they don't want a quote unquote stigma, that it's no such thing, but they don't want a quote
mm-hmm,
unquote stigma attached to their child, they avoid it. And next thing
yeah,
you know, you have a child that is frequently cutting themselves, and they don't know
mm-hmm,
where this started. They're
mm-hmm,
stealing pills, and they're taking, let's say, 20 pills of whatever pain pills
mm-hmm,
that mom has, and mom doesn't even know that the child is
mm-hmm,
taking it, and one day you
yeah,
come home and your child's not here.
yeah,
So let's avoid all that, and
yeah,
talk to your children about, hey, look, what's going on? How are you feeling?
mm-hmm,
Make that a daily, at least a
mm-hmm,
weekly conversation that you have
yes,
with your child. And when that child mentions certain things that are triggering, don't go, oh, well, let me talk to my sister about this. Let me talk to my uncle about this. And then, oh, well, let's go talk to the pastor about this. No, get that person the right help they need right away.
yeah,
Like, stop. What You wouldn't do that if the person was in a car accident and was bleeding from the skull, right? So why would
mm-hmm,
you do that when this person's having something dealing with their mental health?
mm-hmm.
And can I
Especially as you
piggyback off
stated.
of that?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, no worries.
Um,
I didn't see you.
it's I want to say that's so important. Definitely not to minimize a young person's feelings, and definitely check in. Um, I remember I was at an event, and the whole thing was to teach I shared my story, and I had put up, like, opened the floor. One person shared, and by the end of the thing, half of the youth that had shared, they had a story. I mean,
Mm,
and it was some deep stuff.
mm,
And most of them had never spoken of it before.
mm.
So, and this was children under 16.
Yeah,
Hmm.
So definitely check in, because there's stuff happening.
awesome.
Yeah, and also create a safe space when a
Hmm.
child or a loved
Mhm.
one comes to you and tells you something that's very sensitive, especially around the topics of suicide or self harming or
Hmm.
depression. Don't be that gossiping person that's going to run off and go tell somebody else, and now everybody knows this person's business. Help this
Yeah.
person get the right help that they need, and keep your mouth shut.
Hmm. Yeah, especially if you want them to continue to open up. It is you build on trust. So if I know that you're gonna tell Jada, I ain't talking to you no more, Dr. Kyle, you know. So I'm just saying, like, that's how it is. It's built on trust. There are a lot of people that really like confide in me because I'm like, look, I ain't got time to be talking. I got a lot of other stuff going on, but I listen. I give advice, and at the end of the day, they know that it's going to be left with me.
Hmm.
So a very good point also that you make, Kyle, is that create a safe place, a safe space, and so Jada, obviously, you created that because people were opening up, or else they would not have. And either they saw how real you are, or that space was very much a safe space, And so that's actually a good thing. And also, I believe not only that it was a relatable story, because once you shared, they were able to, it was like a domino effect, but it also is that your youthfulness. They were able to open up with you because you look like them. You know what I mean? As far as age or similar, not too far off. And so that's good. Like if I talk to someone, I'm like, this old lady. I mean, maybe, but if my story is good, they might listen. But most times the young people are going to gravitate to young. That's what I have noticed. And or if you're just that real that you're like, look, I'm gonna keep it real with you. This is what it is. And most times they will open up. I want to say something. I'm gonna read off a little bit, but I'm not going to read fully, so that way the person won't know. It was posted on their page though, so it's not a secret. But I wanted to say something that someone had written. They said that basically basically because I don't want to read it word for word, is that they were sick of parents not taking responsibilities for the mistakes that they made for their children and what the children have to suffer behind, whatever that may be. This person went into how her mother is choosing her spouse or boyfriend over her family. Like these are things. Or another person, I remember saying how this boyfriend of the mother was um, given some inappropriate um, gestures, I would say, to the child. And so the mother didn't believe, so we, like you just said, Kyle, we have to talk to one another, have that safe space, but also your child should not, and this is a grown person who's feeling this way, but it went from childhood and it's just maybe their relationship is not good. And who wouldn't want to have a good relationship with their mother, their mother? And I can even go deeper with mine. I don't have a good relationship with my mother. And it took years for me to really get to a point where I'm just like, okay, but it took years. It didn't happen overnight. There are still some things that trigger, And so again, I need to know when to avoid, when to do certain things. But some people are not there. So they may take drugs, or they may be suicidal, or they may feel like they're not loved, or they may feel isolated. When you see these things, these are triggers, these are signs. It is also signs when, let's just talk about relationships. There's been a lot of domestic violence, but relationships, there's sometimes where a man or woman could be controlling, and they begin to take that man or woman away from their family, away from things, having them dependent, and then it gets to the point where they are feeling like they can't do anything without them. So these are just all kind of things that can trigger depression and can trigger feeling like, look, I'm out, I'm ready to check out, especially with COVID, especially with the pandemic, especially seeing people dying from COVID or people dying from opioids. Like there's so much. We need to talk about the drugs. People are dying from overdosing, and it's specifically saying, hey, I want to check out, or just, hey, I want to have fun and just feel numb. But people are taking drugs that are killing them. And so these are all things that we need to address in the community. But yeah, we're here today talking about World Suicide Prevention Day. And again, we have our special guest, Jada Carrington, here. She's on the Maryland's Commission on Suicide Prevention with the governor's office. We are so thankful for this young adult who is actually taking her pain and put it into a purpose. And she has a lot of people following her with her inspirational story and quotes, and we appreciate you so much. And she's from Be More. So really appreciative of you being relatable, of you being not even just relatable, but just your courage. It takes a lot to talk about this. Can I say this? And I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna turn it over. But when my husband died, and this was what, 20 some years ago, when my husband died, I'm telling you, there were years, maybe a decade or so, where I didn't even want to I didn't even put his picture up. It was a trigger. It was a reminder. I have it up now, but that was like most recent. And so that's when I know I'm healing from certain things, but not so much. It was a reminder to me that the happiness we had, the love we had, it reminded me of what happened. It reminded me of the court date, the incident. Everything was anything that reminded me. It was almost like I had to like really like forget it. Even though I had a child, we had a child together, and she was just all him. It was like I went to my room. I worked. I went to my room in a dark. Like I had black everything. Now I don't want nothing black. Like these are healing, and I'm so happy when I see my healing process. And it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight at all, but this is where we need to create and continue to create these safe spaces where people are able to open up or find their purpose, whatever it may be. I said that I used to dance. I was like, look, I'm ready to get back into dancing, but I used to dance at a church. I used to be like a lead for a life after loss support group. Of course, I have my program and I have a platform. So when people say, well, what is she doing all this for? This is a purpose. It's a purpose that God took me. He took me out of a suicidal situation. I did not want to live at one time, in my life. And I always say if it wasn't for my daughter, I probably would have not been here. But there are so many things that we have to be thankful for. And again, I'm thankful for you, Jada. So, okay, go ahead, Dr. Carl. You can say, you put it in the chat.
Oh, I mentioned about the Shepherd Pratt walking clinic. So there are walking clinics throughout the city. Mind you, you could also be out of the city, live in Maryland, and take your loved one to this walking clinic. But if you feel this person is going through behavior that's not like themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or let's say this person has a mental health diagnosis and their behavior is different. They might need some changes in medication. You could take them to Shepherd Pratt's Walking Clinic, which is located at, I don't see the address right now, but the phone number is 410-938-5302. The address, I could pull it up real fast because I can do it. I think. Ta-da. Is 6501 North Charles Street, Baltimore, Maryland 21204. That address again is 6501 North Charles Street, Baltimore, Maryland 21204. And they do service the whole state. So you could be in Crofton, Maryland, you could be in Glen Burnie, you could be in whatever, Hydesville, I don't know, Timonium, but you can go there for services. And
so I have a question.
Go for it.
If someone, because I had a call yesterday. I'm just curious since you're on here, Doc. If someone overdosed,
Hmm.
they went to hospital, came out, of course. But they're still doing it, and family has to, get a Narcan, and it's very hurtful to the family now. Like,
Hmm.
what are some things that a family can do to get this person help? Because when they've reached out, it was basically that the person has to admit themselves, and right now they're like they don't have a problem. So what are I don't know, and I don't know if Jada has some incidents
Hmm.
where someone had substance abuse, but what are some steps that we can do when someone when the family is trying and they I don't know, can you do emergency? But I don't know. Yeah, let's just
With
hopefully you
substance,
understand. It's a little
I, I
complicated.
I know what you mean. So with substance abuse, don't do a mercy petition. I know it sounds
Okay.
crazy, and I know that sounds so bad to say, but
Okay.
yeah, no. But especially if a person doesn't want treatment, is that what you're saying? This person doesn't want to get help,
They feel like they don't have a problem, but they
right?
continue to get the Narcan in them to bring them
Right.
back.
So this person's in denial, actively
Yes.
using. So what we
Yes.
call that is the pre-contemplative stage, right?
Okay.
So in that situation, I'm a huge proponent of harm reduction. My dissertation is loosely around harm reduction. I've been doing harm reduction trainings now at my full time job for about 2 or 3 months now. So harm reduction is one of those things like you look at this person, you look at what's going on, what's this person's desired goal, and with this person's desired goal, how can we reduce the likelihood where it creates other challenges around this person? A, overdose, B, financial constraints like losing their housing, or C, losing their income, losing their job, all those things. Like, so reducing harm, with the goal in mind of hopefully this person gets to the place where they can be off of drugs, and certain drugs like opiates are you're dependent on, like your body is dependent on it, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully the goal would be getting that person on methadone or Suboxone in the long run, right? So,
Mhm.
but the first step is really talking to them and have a real conversation. Do you want to get treatment? If the answer is no, hey, no. Okay, well, what can we do to best serve you?
Yeah.
Because we're constantly overdosing. So, and this is scary for us because we don't want to lose you. We genuinely
Hmm.
love you. You're a member of our family.
Yeah.
You have value to all of us. So what can we do to help you? And like really having that tough conversation. Like, should we give you, like, if should we give you an allowance of money so that way you don't overuse? You know, should we take some of your money and pay your bills so that way you have a place to stay at tonight? It's not easy work, but
Yeah.
if you're trying to be effective, sometimes effective doesn't mean easy.
Yeah. Well, I thank you. I think they did all of that, so it's just very hard. And I guess I've just brought that up just because it's National Recovery Month as well. And I almost sometimes I just be like, are you trying to commit suicide? Like I don't. But
Well,
they're
also
they're
ask them
just
what is it that they're getting from it? Like, is it because of the actual chemical dependence of it, or is it because they're
probably
getting something else from it?
they've been on it for a very long time.
Right. So are they getting something else from it? Like, because it's a little, it can be column A or column B or a little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
So
But maybe I'll
exploring.
reach out to you after.
I got you.
Yeah. But yeah, so just going back as we kind of wrap up soon, not fully, but Jada, are there any kind of programs or events that you have going on that any kind of safe spaces that you have going on? I know you say you do poetry. Yeah, anything that we can support?
Currently, that's a good question. I would like to start something. I don't
Are you
have
available September
anything.
25th?
What's September 25th?
We're doing something at Drew Hill Park. I can give you the information later. But if you would like to perform, do poetry, or just share your story, it is actually National Day of Remembrance for Murder Victims. So It may not necessarily be that you had a family member or someone you know, which you may or may not, but we are looking for anyone that can perform or, like I said, do poetry or give some encouraging words. So if you have something, let me know. I mean, if you would like to share, let me know. But yeah, if you have anything that we can share out, or if you like to do something right now, like the floor is yours. We just want to make sure that we support you the best that we could.
Currently I am trying to set up something where I can get youth involved, sort of like we talked about a support group.
Hmm.
I'm trying to like work out some stuff, but I want to probably start off like virtually,
Hmm.
where we can get youth in just to have a place to talk.
Kyle,
Um,
write that down. Look, Kyle, look, we were talking about something. Maybe we can leap her in.
but otherwise, I don't really know what to name right now. But stay tuned because there's more coming.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
and I do. I have a walk team, suicide prevention. Walk team. Um,
Tell us more about that.
the the Maryland American Foundation Suicide Prevention is having their Baltimore walk on October 30th,
Okay.
and I'm walking on behalf of my Life with No End Instagram page because it's also the anniversary, and I am asking for donations. Um, so I'll. Is there a way like I can post the um my walk pages because my walk page link?
You can. I don't know if you can tag me or if you want to. Yeah, some kind of way you can send it to me.
Yeah.
And I'll share it out so I can do that. Um, and then like I don't know if you heard earlier, but we do sponsorships as well. So if you would like, you can send information over to our producer and see what the
Okay.
sponsorship prices are. And he has various shows. It could either be on my show or another show, and they'll come on as like a commercial. So he has a lot of things he can either help you with, even promoting. But there, you could talk to him directly. I let him handle that part. But there are ways. This is actually a Black-owned media broadcast. He's on YouTube and everything else. So if you need certain things to help you with promoting an event or advertising an event, you want to definitely reach out to DJ Diamond K with Radio on Fire, and he can hook you up with some packages that can serve your needs. If you would like to just tag me, I can share it on my page. But anything more extensive than that, I would direct it over to Diamond K
I'm about to
because
follow
I'm
right
also
now.
trying to support him as well. I love it. I say I love it. I life with no end. Please make sure y'all. I don't even think I'm. Am I on there? Let me go on there and like it. But life with no end. I didn't even know that you had that until you just said it. So thank you for sharing that. So make sure you reach out to Jada or at least follow her on Instagram. I'm getting ready to do it now because if I don't, I will
I just
forget.
did.
Look, I was gonna say I don't want to forget. So bear with me, guys. Okay, here we go. Life with no end. Oh, I am following it. Okay. I'm not really on Instagram. I'm trying to get better. But yeah, so yes. Can I just read one thing on here? I think if you scroll up, okay, unless you just did a. Okay, never mind. So, September is Suicide Prevention Month. Let's keep this ribbon going to raise awareness and show everyone who is suffering that they are never alone. You matter, you are worthy, and you will make it. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to share that on my page. And thank you so much for bringing awareness to let people know that they are not alone. As I stated, for me, that's what helped me to know that I was not alone. I know it may sound a little silly to say, hey, you really found that out of knowing someone going through the same thing. Yes, I really did.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what we do. We share stories. Like I said, I really believe in support groups. To me, it's very helpful.
Hmm.
And then also here's another one. I'm reading the posters now. I'm getting inspired. In case no one has said this to you today, you are doing your best and you are going to be okay. Please make sure you follow Life with No End and get these daily inspiring quotes that she posts every day. Yes. I know sometime I'll be like, hey, what I say, Alexa. I can't say it too loud. She might hear me upstairs. But I'll be like, Alexa, she got my whole little daily. She give me some inspiration every day or play me some gospel music in the morning. We need that. Whatever it is, whatever your go-to is, go. Don't stop, don't quit. If you gotta pause, push the pause button and then keep it moving. Right, Dr. Berkeley?
Hmm.
Okay. So I would definitely give you the information for September 25th. Again, September 25th is National Day of Remembrance for Murder Victims. Restoring the Village has been one of the organizations that has been bringing awareness to that. We've been honoring families and loved ones and recognizing those who have lost their lives to violence. In Baltimore City and throughout, but as a national recognition of it. We've honored family members. We've honored and we do things such as like I said earlier, with if you had poetry, dance, we've had everything. We've had dance, we've done arts and craft, we've done a lot of things to recognize the families or to bring some healing. We let people know that you're not alone, and so I would love if you are available on that day. You can check your calendar. I know I gotta check your calendar these days, but we would love to have you be a part of that. It's actually going to be with another organization, and so I'll share that. We'll have a flyer out, and again, it's going to be at Drew Hill Park. We're gonna have a DJ. We're gonna have food. We're gonna have different organizations coming together to bring some hope to our city and to help our families that are going through. As we come to a close, could you let people know how to get in contact with you? I know we said about the Instagram, but if there's any other platforms or any other things you would like to say, the floor is yours.
Okay. Reach you could reach me at Facebook at Jada Carrington. You can follow me on Instagram at JadaLove16. You could follow the Life with No End page. You can also email me at jadacarrington61 at yahoo.com. And I should always be available at any of those platforms.
One of the other quotes said, look, I'm on here now. One of the other quotes says, you have survived 100% of your worst days. Hello. How hopeful is that? You are more than enough. Listen, guys, please make sure you support Jada Carrington. Make sure you follow her on Life with No End. She has 17.8 followers. Look at that. She has a story. She's turned her pain into a purpose. She has recently been appointed to the Maryland's Commission on Suicide Prevention. She's sharing, she's opening up to us. And so again, like I said earlier, it takes courage. You're 25, right?
25.
She's 25 years old. We already know some 25 is, but since 25, she is focused. As I told her, sometimes I send her messages and just encourage her. I've not met her in person, but I feel like I know her and I've seen her. But I want you to know, keep going, and we'll continue to be accountable to one another. I've seen growth, I've seen happiness and joy, and I'm very, very just excited for your future. It's going to even go even higher than what you can imagine. If there's anything that I can do, because this is our area as well. If there's anything we can do, just let us know how we can help. I can't make promises, but I just said earlier how I got a lot on my plate. But definitely this is my gift. This is my love. And so if there's anything that we can do to tap into to ignite the God-given gift that's been placed in you, let us know. As always, we want to always thank our best producer in the world. I give him a different, I say something's different every time. But DJ Diamond K, we thank you from Ready on Fire. I'm about to say Restoring the Village. And we also are thankful for Restoring the Village. We have been around for a minute, been consistent. And as I stated, we may change the time, but we are not changing our mind on being out there in the community and bringing hope to our village. Just being there, just showing up. Sometimes that's all that it takes is showing up, And so we thank you all for tuning in on this beautiful Monday. We hope that you all have been inspired by Jada and co-host Dr. Kyle Berkeley. Now, Kyle, I'm going to put this on you to close us out with any lasting words, so just an outro. But again, we thank you, Jada, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Kyle Berkeley.
I'm just going to give an inspiring word then. If you know somebody going through something or you see something different and they have some apprehensions about getting help, talk with them through the fear. Don't let them be alone. They're in front of you for a reason. You're in front of them for a reason. Help be that guiding light towards where they need to go, because they need help. And the fact that they're still there and their heart is still beating in front of you means that there's a chance that they can be saved.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Love you all.
Yeah, how about that? Can we do the heart, guys? Come on, Jada. Do your heart. Look, Jada, like I'm
trying to hold in my phone, but it's
that's
there.
right. That's right. You hold the phone. My bad.
Hold on. We can make this work. Hold on. How we do this?
I don't know.
Where you at, Jada?
Oh, wrong one.
Other way.
All right, y'all.
We made it work.
Oh my goodness. Laughter is healing too. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in to the RTV radio show. We'll see you all. I can't say same time, same place because we never know. But I'll definitely see you all next Monday on the RTV radio show. Have a great Monday evening. See you guys.
Yeah.